Huge Saturday in college basketball, and let's get off and rolling here with Arkansas and Florida.
This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Saturday edition of Locked On Bets, our first one here. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. That's right, a Saturday. Why? Because this is the last full slate of college basketball for the season as February wraps up. And next week, or actually tomorrow, will be in March. So we are right there, March Madness. And we'll have a couple Saturday shows here. Just with all the games, we have 4 big games to go over today and a couple SEC games, ACC, Virginia and Duke starting up in a bit, and also from the Big East. So, Lee, let's get this party started in Gainesville for the defending champion Gators taking on John Calipari's Arkansas Razorbacks as we begin with a wrong team favorite.
What the fuck? WTF.
Gators back at home after a big win over Texas, and they're taking on Cal's Razorbacks tonight. And Arkansas, I got to give them credit. I got to give Calipari credit that he went there after the Kentucky debacle. Things kind of fell apart there. And Arkansas is still pretty good, you know, and he's done a good job bringing in recruits, bringing in players. And we'll see if Arkansas can cover as a dog tonight, Lee, in the Swamp against Florida.
Well, if they're going to want to do it, they're going to have to go against the big three. That front court for Florida is just incredible. Their 2 forwards and center average 42.5 points, 25 almost and a half rebounds, and 3.5 blocks. So that, to me, is one of the 2 biggest challenges here. Their big men just going to have to do a better job here. So I think that you're going to see this Arkansas team be able to hang with them because I just think that they're so athletic and so quick. They step into the passing lanes. They double when they have to here. And think that if they just got to hold their own. I think that they're going to have a shot to hang. And this might be a 1 or 2 possession game. So what happened here, Boogie Flondy ended up leaving Arkansas. And the guy that took over for him is something special. This is a kid who I think is going to be, Acuff is going to be maybe SEC Player of the Year. Acuff's averaging 22 points, over 6 assists, and he's shooting over 43% on his 3-pointers. He might be the best point guard, especially statistically, that John Calipari has ever coached here. So I think Boogie Flan's got his work cut out for him. Boogie Flan's not great shooting threes at all. I think it's like 30%. He's only averaging 11.5 points, a little over 3 assists per game. So that's where their advantage is here. So I just think that I was watching that last game that Arkansas played and against A&M, and people talk about A&M's quickness. Their end-to-end play was just no match for Arkansas, who was bigger and faster. So Florida's a little bit bigger, a little bit better in the front court, but I think this is a couple possession game here. I think the 10 points a little elevated because of the winning streak that Florida's on. So I'm taking the points here. Wrong team favored. Arkansas takes it down to the wire. Who knows? Might even pull off the shocker.
Yeah, and we'll see how Arkansas fares against Florida. The Gators trying to get maybe a 1 seed. I don't know if they'll get a 1 seed when the tournament's all said and done, probably a 2. But the Gators, they wrap up with Mississippi State and Kentucky in their final 2 games after Arkansas. And for the Razorbacks, they had Texas at home and at Missouri. So not an easy road for Arkansas necessarily here down the stretch, but they're going to see if they can try to get this one against the Gators tonight. So we shift over to another SEC matchup in the afternoon at Rupp Arena. It's Vandy and Kentucky, and time now for our blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
So on Friday, Vandy opened up as a 1.5-point favorite against Kentucky, and this number has moved around. Where at FanDuel now, Kentucky's laying 1.5. Depends on where you get your number. You could have Vandy favorite, you have Kentucky favorite. It could be a pick 'em. I'm going with the Vanderbilt Commodores here to pull off the season sweep of Kentucky. Now, Vandy had lost back-to-back games to Tennessee and Missouri, and they beat Georgia earlier in the week on Wednesday. That was a game Vandy was up big. Georgia came back, made it interesting. Vandy ended up covering. They were laying 7.5, won by 8. And I think that was kind of a game, not even a get-right game, but just to kind of get back on track here. Vandy had that great start to the season, stumbled a bit in SEC play, but both Vandy and Kentucky, identical records heading into the game today at Rupp Arena. First matchup, Vandy won at home 80-55 over Kentucky, and we're still kind of living off the Kentucky name a bit. Kentucky has a couple of good wins over Tennessee, but past that, they beat Arkansas, but a lot of other wins over not great competition in the conference. Also, Vanderbilt, they create the most turnovers of any team in SEC play, and Kentucky's ranked 13th in that category in turning the ball over in conference play. So Kentucky's going to turn the ball over. Vanderbilt can force the turnovers. Kentucky doesn't have great shooting numbers. We're going to go with Vanderbilt here in basically like a pick-em spot. I just think they're the better team. We're going to take the Vanderbilt Commodores over the Kentucky Wildcats for our SEC blowout special.
I like it here. And I think Kentucky is improved, but they lost first game by 25 points. I don't think they've improved by even 10 or 15 points. So sometimes it's a game of matchups. And like I said, I think Vanderbilt has those matchup advantages here over Kentucky.
Yeah, and we'll see if Vandy can pull off the sweep. Who would have said that 5-10 years ago, that Vanderbilt's going to beat Kentucky once, much less maybe sweep them? And that's the case. And again, Vandy had that great start, stumbled a bit, but now if they can maybe pick it up towards the end of the regular season, go to the SEC tournament, maybe they can start to turn things around, and we'll see what Kentucky does and what they have left in the tank going towards the tournament. So coming up, we have 2 more games to get to for Saturday's action. Big East. We're going to go over also in the ACC, a total between Virginia and Duke. It's an early tip-off. Just want to remind you of that, but we're going to get to that lock of the day coming up in just a little bit as we continue here the special Saturday edition of Locked On Bets. Time now to talk about FanDuel, and yes, we've had a lot of college basketball talk, but the NBA Finals, though, just a few months away. Ever want to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. Now, if you're looking for a team on the board to bet to go all the way, there's plenty of choices here with a few months to go in the season. In the Western Conference, Oklahoma City, the defending champions, San Antonio, LeBron and the Lakers, KD and the Rockets, Jokic and the Nuggets. So many choices there. Or in the Eastern Conference, if you like the Detroit Pistons, who have the top record in the East, the Celtics, the Knicks, maybe the Cavaliers, after getting James Harden. So many teams that you could choose from, or maybe someone else that we're not really talking about. Remember, the Pacers went to the finals last year. That was a surprise and almost won it in 7 games over OKC. So maybe there's another team I haven't mentioned that you could maybe look at. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We continue Locked On Bets here on a Saturday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. All college basketball already went over the SEC, but now it is time to look at the Big East. We'll see if Rick Pitino and St. John's can bounce back as they square off with Villanova tonight in New York, and it's time for our Hidden Gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
All right, Lee, I'm going back-to-back here. Another V we're going to back, and that's the Villanova Wildcats after taking Vanderbilt earlier. And Villanova getting 7.5 against St. John's. Let me make sure. Yep, I got the number 7.5. All right, so Villanova, they've won 7 of 8, and they have 4 losses inside the Big East. Who have they lost to? UConn twice, St. John's, and Creighton. Now, 3 of those, now Creighton's below them. Big East is very weird. You have UConn, St. John's, and Villanova, then everyone else is below 500 in the conference. They've just really struggled, so it's very top heavy. And this is a game Villanova needs to grab. They prove they can beat the subpar teams in the conference. Now you got to try to beat one of the big boys after losing to UConn a few games ago. And for St. John's and Rick Pitino, they were totally humbled in that UConn game a few nights ago, just blown out. They couldn't hit a shot down the stretch to save themselves. And I don't like taking teams off those bad losses because the automatic feeling is they're just going to come back and win the next game. They're going to be angry. They're going to come back. But Villanova, I think, has got something to prove. They lost the first game at home to St. John's. They were a short dog here. Now a little bit of a bigger dog here on the road. I'm going to go with Villanova. We're going to take them in the points against St. John's as our college basketball hidden gem.
Wow, you talk about being cold. I think St. John's, didn't they miss like their last 24 shots?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a college game. And we're not talking about a team, that's like 2-25 or something like that. We're talking about a good team. So there was some bad shot selection, but there were some real clunkers. So yeah, just expecting a team to turn it around all of a sudden, I'm not buying it. I'm with you here also with Villanova.
Well, also the guys were on the phone during breakfast. That's what Pitino blamed it on earlier in the day. He said, you guys aren't paying attention. You're just on your phones. Look what happened. So we'll see if Pitino's got something to say about that. All right. Final game we're going to look at, ACC. It's a noon tip-off from Cameron Indoor Stadium, Virginia and Duke. And it is time now for our college basketball ACC lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Early tip-off noon at Cameron Indoor between Duke and Virginia, and the Cavaliers. They've moved on from Tony Bennett, that slow-down pace. Ryan Odom came in, the former coach at UMBC. Remember, they pulled off the upset over Virginia, the 16-1 upset, and bounced around to Utah State, to VCU, now coming over Virginia. And Virginia's been great this year, but also Duke's been pretty good as well, coming off that win over Michigan last week. So you're going to focus on a total here, Lee, between the Cavaliers and the Blue Devils.
Yeah, so there's no doubt that Duke is the more talented team here. And they'll probably win this game probably between 6, 12, 13 points. That's the way I worked it out, a couple of my different models. But when you look at a total, sometimes that's the easier way to attack a game here. Now, Virginia, they can really play some defense. Their defense is built to stop a Duke-style offense that attacks, kicks, and perimeter cuts. Those are the two biggest pillars of the Duke half-court offense here. The Virginia Cavaliers defense here, top 5 in the sport in both. In other words, Duke's top offensive sets are running straight, I think, into what Virginia does best on defense here. Now, you think of Duke and you think of this high-scoring team, and they scored 100 and 101 points in 2 games here in February. But in the 5 other games, they've scored between 67 and 70 points. And I think Virginia is the type of team here that can disrupt what they do best here. So it falls back in the same analysis as what we're talking about. A lot of times people fall in love with the team because of their name. And I think Virginia can slow down the primary functions here of Duke's offense. And they also have enough size, I think, to keep Cam Boozer here from taking advantage. So I think it's going to stay close for at least when it gets down to the last 7-8 minutes. And I don't want to chance it on the spread here. We're going to go under 141.5 total points. It started at like 137.5. The public's fallen in love with the over, figuring how both teams can get over 70. I don't see it here. We're going to go under 141.5 total points here. It's going to be a level 2 lock.
Yeah, and Duke was off that win over a terrible Notre Dame team earlier in the week, like you mentioned, scoring all those points. And now I think we'll have a little bit more of a defensive type battle against Virginia, major step up from Notre Dame. So, Lee, with all the college basketball today, March Madness right around the corner, UFC in Mexico City coming up later. So many things going on at Paramount Sports.
Yeah, so we got college basketball is in the forefront, and put up the college basketball special. Went 2-0 last night, had a total and a Fairfield Siena game. won by over 10 points. Other game, Texas State hit. So we're going to have probably 6 or 7 games today. So you want to hop on these games. College basketball special, every game from today all the way through the end of March Madness. Got 5 full weeks of action, 5.5 weeks of action. Normally $397, not even $297, $197 for every college selection for almost 6 weeks. UFC going tonight, 5 selections, including a rare 40 to 50 unit max wager. Also have 3 nice big underdogs besides that 40 to 50 unit max wager. You want to get on those 5 selections, normally $47, $57, just $25. So 5 selections in the UFC starts at 5 Eastern, just $25. Also, NBA, we're rolling there. Hockey, we're rolling. And baseball's right around the corner. So check out all the specials. You want to get on with us this weekend. Just one place, ParamountSports.com, or you can call us here at the office, 800-400-9741.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as finding the podcast version, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Type in Locked On Bets. You'll be all set. And again, we appreciate you tuning into the special Saturday edition, looking at 4 big college basketball games today. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. We'll talk to you again on Monday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.